everybody. Delighted to be able to introduce Alex Nails, new manager Preston North End. Fraser, take it away.
Alex, welcome.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be back in management?
Yeah, it's great, obviously. But yeah, I think in terms of actual footballing terms, I've only really missed the sort of last 6 weeks of the season, and to get myself back into such a good role and an exciting challenge, I'm really looking forward to it.
And what was it particularly about Preston that attracted you to this job?
I think a couple of things. I think that I wanted a project, and I'd said that since I'd left Norwich, that could potentially allow me to try and build something to try and work towards the Premier League. I think it's a club that has made good progression in the last 4 years, and I think after I spoke to Peter Ridsdale and the owner, I was sort of sold really on making sure that this was the next place that I wanted to try and come and try and build something.
And I'm sure one of the reasons why they were interested in you was the fact that you have that track record of having taken Norwich up into the Premier League. So is that a similar goal for you here at Preston?
Yeah, I think it's a different task. I think when I went to Norwich initially, it was a case of, it was in January, that was your squad, you've got sort of 4 or 5 months to try and get this squad of players into the Premier League, which we managed to do, which was great. I think with Preston it's very different. I think we've got a young, hungry team that have made progression in the last few years, as I said, and I think what we've got to do is try and build on that team and build on that squad, and sort of, whether it be 1 year, whether it be 2 years, but it's a process that the ambition of this club is to try and get itself into the Premier League. Now, I'm not going to be daft enough and turn around and say I'm going to do that this year and put huge amounts of pressure on myself, but our goal is to continue that progression that they've made and make sure we continue to push ourselves further and further up. And like you've seen with many teams, like Huddersfield for instance last year, you never know where that can take you.
Alex, welcome to Preston North End.
Thank you.
Obviously you haven't had a chance to look at the squad in detail yet, but you'll know the players. Do you get a sense that it's tinkering rather than a revolution that you're going to need here? Yeah,
without doubt. I'm not coming in here to try and rip up anything that's already put in place. What's put in place is sound. I think the rest of the staff that's left that haven't went with Simon will remain here, and I'll be looking to work closely with them as I did at Norwich when I went in there. And the playing squad as well will be more, as you say, tinkering with the squad rather than wholesale changes. I don't think that needs to be the case. I think they've proven themselves to be a good squad. I think they've proven themselves to be young, hungry players that want to try and succeed and find their way in the game. And I'm basically here to try and help them and try and build in that squad and try and push it and take it to hopefully a new level.
You know this club well. You've been here as a manager and as a player. You scored as a player, didn't you? Did you get a sense on those occasions of the potential for this football club? Yeah,
I think the one thing that's certainly different and huge potential at Preston is where it's situated. I know you might think that's quite a strange thing to say, but you're right in the doorstep of so many of the other big clubs as well. In terms of attracting players, in terms of getting out to games. When you're situated in Norwich, it's difficult because the closest game is maybe 3 hours away, and then it's 3 hours back, and then you've got training the following morning. So I think this will allow me to get about and see as many games as I possibly can, which I love doing, and also seeing what all the young talent that is about that we could potentially hope and try and attract.
How much does this job excite you?
Yeah, I think most of the people who I know in football over the last day or so have been they've all said the same phrase to me, which is, we think that this is a perfect fit for you. In terms of hard working, sort of determined, young, enthusiastic. So all the type of attributes that I think I'll bring to the club, I think are already here, and my job's to try and nurture that and bring it on.
It's been a very quick week, I imagine, for you. This time last week, the outgoing manager was leaving and then left. So how did those talks start off and obviously end in the space of a week?
Yeah, but obviously Simon had left, I think, just towards the tail end of last week. And then Peter Ridsdale contacted me and basically said that we're really keen on speaking to you about the vacant manager's position. And I didn't hesitate. He just asked me if I'd be interested. I said, of course I would be. And we arranged down there to come up and speak to the owner of the club and Peter. And as I said, after spending an hour or so in their company and talking about football and talking about the club and the ambitions of the club, the squad that we've got, all the type of things, then it was really quite an easy decision for me.
We've mentioned it's more tinkering, and obviously Simon did bring in a few players, including former Manchester United player Josh Harrop.
Yeah.
Are you looking to maybe add to that and obviously incorporate the new guys into the squad as well?
Yeah, of course, but I think at any club, in particular a club like Preston, I think it's I don't think signings are made by just solely the manager being Simon. You know, I think obviously the manager will have, if a player, if he doesn't want the player to come in, the player won't come in. But I think clubs naturally now have got to have some sort of input, you know, because the simple fact is you're working within constraints, and I think we've already got a really good squad here, and moving forward I'll be looking to add some other really good young players and hope that we can try and build on what's already sort of been started here.
You'll be happy to know a lot of the PNE fans in my office are behind you, and they asked me to pass that on. The reason being, a lot of the fans have been telling me that they think because of your pedigree and obviously track record with getting promotion with other clubs, that you might have that edge, because of course you'll know PNE's been knocking on the door for so long. How can you try and get that edge to finally get that awaited goal against the Premier League?
I think it's belief as much as anything else. You know, the one thing I probably say that I done when I went into Norwich, and even with my Hamilton team when we went up, was make the players and pretty much everybody else believe that it was possible. You know, because if you don't believe you can do it, you're never going to achieve it. So my first task is to make sure that they believe in themselves first and foremost, but also that they're playing well enough that we believe as a group and get momentum and get the fans behind us. And if you can do that, it's a really powerful sort of driving force that can hopefully propel us further up the league. Thank you. That's
Mighty V, sorry. Do you have a strategy in mind at all going forward? Anything that you intend to do sort of straight away?
Yeah, of course. I think, well, obviously meeting the players is going to be the first and most important thing, which I'll do tomorrow morning. I'll meet the rest of the staff that's remaining here. And the same way I did at Norwich, they'll be with me every step of the way in terms of the decisions that we'll make moving forward. They'll be involved in every process. And I'll be working with the players in terms of how we'll play, how we'll, obviously there's two different facets to that, is what you do when you've got the ball and what you do when you haven't got it, and that'll be the two sort of main key two ingredients that we'll be working on between now and the start of the season. And basically, as I say, players fighting for positions, players hopefully believing about how good they are and how good we can potentially be. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, so